Hello Internet, I'm Elliot the Purple Ardoofus and welcome to Buddy Reads, where I read a small selection of a book and review it for you. Today we are covering issue number 11 of Fables by Bill Willingham. I hope you've read that issue yourself because I do not want to ruin anything for you. Now this issue is all about Jack. Jack of all trades, Jack and the Beanstalk, just general Jack from Fabletown. And it goes all the way back to the Civil War, where Jack thought that he could get into it and do some swindling, and when he found out that he couldn't, he decided that he was just going to walk away from the Civil War. And the generals were happy to do so, considering he had taken so much from them in their off-time gambling. And I know that feeling. As he is walking back home, people are telling him not to take the main route, take the side route, it's safer, but it's Jack, and he takes the main route through the bayou, and he comes across an aging old homeless man who says, "Why don't you sit down with me and play a game of cards?" And Jack says, "Well, I would love to, but you don't look like you can lose that much in a game of cards." And the man says, "Maybe I'm the most amazing card player ever." Jack says, "Fine, I'll swindle you out of everything that you have." And he sits down and he starts playing cards with this guy, and this guy starts winning, like hand after hand after hand, leaving Jack with practically nothing. And then the old man says, "How about we play for your very soul?" And Jack's like, "Oh, you Satan, I should have known it was you. Should have recognized you when I walked right up here. Gosh darn it. Okay, one more hand for my immortal soul." The devil deals out the cards. The devil says, "Oh, I hope you can win against an ace high flush." And Jack says, "Oh, I got one better. 4 jacks. Read 'em and weep. Now you have to give me everything that you've got." Devil's like, "No, Jack, you've swindled me. No!" And Jack takes the extra sack that the devil has and finds out that it's bigger on the inside, much like a TARDIS. And you can suck whatever you want into this sack. And so he goes along his merry way, and he's sucking pigs and chickens in there for food later. And he comes across this mansion. And he's like, "Maybe there's some people in there that I could talk to. I haven't seen people in a long time, except for that devil man." And he walks in, and he goes to a bedroom, and he finds a woman that is lying there on her deathbed. And she's like, "Oh, I would have said that I was here, but it is not ladylike to scream out in the middle of the day. Oh, I must admit that I am not well, that I am close to death." And Jack is like, "Huh?" And she's like, "No, don't worry, I am not contagious." And Jack says, "Well, since you're close to death and you're just kind of lying there, and I haven't seen a woman for like 3 years, do you think we could possibly do a royal in the hay?" And she's like, "Oh, you would soil my virginity right before I'm sent to his almighty?" Jack says, "Well, yeah." She's like, "No, I will not do this." Jack says, "What if I could stay off the bag of bones that's going to take your soul?" And she says, "Oh, you make fun of me in my time of grief of my own life. How could you do so?" And Jack's like, "No, I could do it. What would you give me if I could do that?" And she says, "I would give you anything if you could stop me from dying." He says, "Deal!" And he waits behind her bedroom door, and Death comes to the door, and he opens up his sack, and Death gets sucked right in. She's like, "Oh, I am saved. What is it that you want?" And he's like, "Hey." And she's like, "Could you take a bath first?" So he takes a bath, and then they have sassy times for a page and a half, and their speech gets a little filthy, so I'm guessing they had to have another bath afterwards. Jack is, of course, so good at having the sex that the woman keeps on asking him for it, and he's like, "I am so tired. Couldn't you just go make me food? Please, please, I need food." And she's like, "What do you want?" He's like, "Chicken, beef, horse, I don't care. Just go make a lot of it, please." And she goes out to chop the head off a chicken, puts the chicken on the chopping block, whap! And the chicken doesn't die. The head just keeps on squawking, and the body keeps on running around. And not like the 30 seconds, like other chickens. No. This is like staying alive, and she comes back to the bedroom where Jack is, and she is drenched in blood. And Jack is like, "What the hell happened to you?" And she's like, "Nothing will die." And Jack comes back out, and you find like this farm full of animals, and they're all slaughtered. They're all covered in their own blood, ribs popping out and organs everywhere. And she's like, "And worse yet, I think you have visitors." And there's like soldiers coming out from the war walking onto her front lawn, and there's like heads like hanging on by like veins, and like another guy's got his face split in half, and it's just, and they're like, oh, we died in battle, but we didn't really die. What is up with this, Jack? We know you're up to it. And he's like, whoa, Jesus. Jack says, I can fix this, I can fix this, I can fix this. And he opens up his bag and he says, all right, Death, I know you're in there. Come on back up. Come on. And Death pops back out, and he's like, how in the world did you do that? And Jack was like, it was easy. I put it on my bag, and he went right in. And he's like, I haven't had a day like that in millennia. Ever. In fact, never had a day off. Thank you. You're welcome. And the woman walks up, and she's like, I suppose this is where I have to take my leave. And Death says, no. No. I'll give you one more year. As long as Jack agrees that every year I get 1 day off in his sack of sacks. And Jack says, yeah, I can do that. The woman and him embrace, and they're like, oh, we're going to have such a great year. And Jack says, yes, we will, but one more thing. Could you bathe first, please? You're covered in blood. And that's pretty much where the issue in the story ends. And I love this so much because it felt like the Tales from the Crypt comics. It was so good. It's just like, yee! It felt like the show, too. It was so good. I'm loving this comic so far. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you like this video specifically, go ahead and click that like button. And go ahead and leave a comment letting me know your favorite Tales from the Crypt story, or Tales from the Dark Side story, or short anthology horror story. I've been Elliot the Purple-Haired Doofus, and this has been Buddy Reads, reminding you to watch up your Jam Radius, and I will see you all in the next issue of Fables by Bill Willingham. Toodles!